How's it going, everyone? Texas Man here, back with another video. I hope that you guys are all having a wonderful day. If you guys would, please give this video a thumbs up if you guys do enjoy it. Subscribe, of course, if you guys have not already. Also, do me the biggest favor of all, make sure you guys hit that bell notification button. Select all for all notifications so you guys don't miss out on future content here on the channel. And as always, we're talking positives and negatives, talking about a new Star Wars project, Star Wars Tales of the Underworld. Enjoy. Alrighty, guys, so Tales of the Underworld just dropped recently here in 2025 on Disney+. All episodes are rated PG, which is kind of funny because there is a lot of death within these 6 episodes. So it is a very unfortunate thing I want to talk about first is a lot of the negatives I want to get out of the way first. So, first off, I want to talk about the fact that there's only 6 episodes. 3 of them, the first 3 are about Asajj Ventress, and then the other later half, 3 episodes, is about Cad Bane. My biggest issue with these 6 episodes is the length. Like, they're like 12 to 15 minutes without the whole credits. So, you watch the show and you can binge watch this within like an hour and a half easy. And you might be thinking, well, that's just how streaming is now. And I'm just like, can we please move past that mentality? Now, I get this was probably done on a smaller scale. And for those of you guys who don't know, Lucasfilm has been slowly reducing their staff and just flat out shutting down animation studios within their company because they want to focus more on live action. I mean, The Mandalorian was such a success. Honestly, I think The Mandalorian was a success because of when it came out during the pandemic of COVID. And a lot of live action Star Wars that Disney has been producing hasn't been all that amazing. Like, I like certain parts of Ahsoka show, season 1, but I understand there are a lot of problems, like the ending of episode 1 in that show where Sabine gets killed, and then the next episode she's just fine because Star Wars science. But moving back to this, I really, besides the length, I honestly enjoyed this, and I kind of wanted more. The first episode of this show starts off with the Ventress dead. There's no explanation as to why. I guess there's some sort of comic called Dark Disciple out there that explains it, but as somebody like me who has never read it, the episode kind of fails on explaining how and why. Like, it just feels weird. It's weird. It's like, okay, she's alive when the Clone Wars ends, and this is the first time chronologically in time of, events that she's now just dead. Like, we do see her make an appearance in one episode in The Bad Batch, but that's it. So, her character has been kind of quiet, no pun intended. So, starting off the first episode with her dead for no reason kind of just feels weird. Like, we don't know what the circumstances were that led to her death. All we see is that she's dead, and this lover Jedi, I don't know what his name is, but yeah, she falls in love with the Jedi, and Obi-Wan Kenobi's there, and it looks like he's wearing Revenge of the Sith clothes. So she does somehow die during the Clone Wars or near the end of it, and it kind of feels weird. Thankfully, because of her Night Sisters, for some reason, they give her the choice to be like, hey, you can either stay with us and be with your sisters, even though technically you were never a true Night Sister because you became a Sith apprentice. Or you can go back to the real world and you can never be with that Jedi that you love again. And I'm just like, I think I picked the afterlife. Less problems, I think. just saying. You don't have to worry about taxes, inflation, tariffs, yada, yada, yada. There's so many aches and pains and doctor appointments and having to work to scrape by and make a normal living. Like, the afterlife, I think, is pretty good. You don't have to do anything except exist. so we know. Anyway, um, throughout all 6 episodes, there are several cameos from the Bad Batch show, Rebels, and of course Clone Wars. So, if you're able to pick out like certain characters and like bounty hunters and whatnot, be like, oh, I know who that is. Oh, I know who that is. Oh, I remember them. Like, there you go. So there's a dash and a sprinkling of Star Wars nostalgia throughout these episodes. And I think that helps with the fact that Dave Filoni is heavily involved. He kind of owns the rights to certain characters, since George Lucas isn't involved, unfortunately, anymore. So he gets his say in certain things that are sprinkled throughout, which is kind of cool. Back to the Ventress episodes, there is no explanation still as to how Ventress has yellow lightsabers. Like, she has 2 red blades in the Clone Wars, and now she just has 1 yellow, and then in the Bad Batch she has 2 yellow. And I'm like, where is she getting these lightsabers from? Like, I would like to know how she has these yellow lightsabers, because it's never explained in Bad Batch. It's not explained in this show. I understand it's probably explained in a comic, but I shouldn't have to read a comic to understand what's happening in a show. Okay? It's like saying you need to read the Clone Wars books in order to understand the Clone Wars show. No. It's also like, hey, you need to have, I don't know. You need to have read the series of unfortunate books to understand the movie or the show. It's like, no, make it make logical sense within the show. Pretend people have never read your book and make it work in that sense. That's all I'm asking for. I did like the Ventress versus the Inquisitor duel. It was short, but it was nice. Episode 2 and 3 has a lot of awesome action sequences. Episode 2 and 3 is basically Ventress trying to protect this Jedi to make it so he can find the path, the, Jedi transport to get these Jedi that are still around and have survived Order 66 to get to some sort of safe haven. I like that. There was a lot of great humor throughout. I also thought it was kind of interesting that, after the Clone Wars has ended, Ventress is like a really well-known person throughout the entire galaxy. She's either worshipped as a war hero, or she's considered a supervillain because she murdered so many, Jedi and clones and other bystanders during the Clone Wars to serve Count Dooku's interest. Last thing I want to talk about with those 3 episodes, we never learn the name of this Jedi that Ventress is protecting, and that kind of bugged me. I'm just like, okay, who is this Jedi? There's never given a name to this kid. And I'm just like, is it Cal Kestis? Who is this Jedi? It's just some random Jedi that Ventress meets, and we know for a fact that this Jedi and Ventress, they're not hanging out during the Bad Batch. So something happens. It's never explained because the episode 3 just ends on a cliffhanger and it leaves the door open for future things to be told. And I'm just like, I hate when, you get 30 minutes of a story and it never wraps up. And I'm like, so what, we gotta wait until next year for more? Like, by that time, I'm gonna be like, who is this? I don't remember any of this. Streaming. Episode 4, 5, and 6 is basically all about Cad Bane. It's about his origins. And that's fine. It's just never something I really considered wanting to ever see be told. It's not something I've ever cared about. Having 1 episode about it, I thought would be fine. But make it 25 minutes long. But not 3 episodes that are like I said, 12 to 15 minutes, because there's only so much you can do. And it kind of gets boring. There's a bunch of 1v1 cowboy showdowns. We get to learn how Cad Bane got his hat. And I'm just like, I don't care. Why are we explaining in Star Wars how Star Wars characters get their outfits? It's like, we need a show to show you how, Senator Amidala gets her headpieces. Like, no one wants to see that. Why do I need 3 episodes to explain how Cad Bane got his hat? I don't think that's a really wise usage of resources. But, I'm just me, and I don't know anything about writing a good show or a movie. Oh boy. The last 3 episodes just feels like a waste. Like, literally, if you watched only the first 3, you would have felt like you at least got something worth watching. The last 3 episodes, I'm just like, this is such a dragged out plot line. It takes forever to get to the point. It's like they stretched out a 2-minute plot into 45 minutes. And it's just like, oh, please, kill me with a lightsaber, shoot me with a blaster, and don't miss. Anyway, guys, it was a interesting show. It's probably going to be something that I forget about, except for the fact, that Ventress is out there still, and we got to learn how Cad Bane got his hat. An hour and a half for those 2 things. I'm sorry, but Disney, can you, spend your time, money, and resources on, something that's important? And can we please, for the love of God, move past the Clone Wars? I know. You're like, what? He doesn't want more Clone Wars. I love Clone Wars. I love Rebels. I enjoyed the Bad Batch for what it was worth. But I am so doggone bored of exploring more of these characters. Okay? We've got 7 seasons of Clone Wars. We've got Rogue One. We've got Solo. We have the Andor show. We've got Rebels, Bad Batch, and now we're getting all these, Tales of the Jedi, Tales in the Empire, Tales in the Underworld. I'm like, can we do something that's animated, that takes place after Return of the Jedi? And I know we had Star Wars Resistance. I watched that show once, both seasons. It's fine-ish, but it ties into Episode 7, Force Awakens, and Episode 8, The Last Jedi, and a lot of people don't like those movies. So could you come up with a story that's not so tied into those movies, and just make it an interesting thing that takes place after Return of the Jedi? It shouldn't be that hard to get, Mark Hamill and Han Solo. I'm sorry, Mark Hamill and Harrison Ford back to reprise their roles. Obviously, Carrie Fisher can't be Leia, so you'd either have to, use AI and bring her into her voice, or just make it where, she's not in the show and she's off doing some mission to explain why Carrie Fisher can't voice Leia because, she's dead. But you could find ways to work around it. I want something after Return of the Jedi that's good in animation. The quality that we're getting animation style-wise right now, I love it. And I just want it to be after Return of the Jedi. As a Clone Wars fan, I'm bored of Clone Wars era stuff, okay? Can we please move past it? I'm so bored of it. I get that there's a lot of stories that you can tell in between episode 2 and 3, and there's a lot of stuff that you can tell between episode 3 and 4, especially between 3 and 4, because there's 18-year gap. But, we need to get past it, please. Can't we get some stuff that takes place between episode 4 and 5, or 5 and 6? I know it's a smaller time window, but you could do some really cool things with it. So, that's all I'm asking. Anyway, I know this video has gone on for long, and it's turned into a rant, but I'm going to shut up now and wrap this up. So I'm going to give this show, Tales of the Underworld, an 8 out of 10. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great day. Let me know if you guys agree or disagree with anything I've said in the video. And as always, may the Force be with you. Bye, guys.